Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Monday, January 30th, 2023, the second to last day of January. Hope everyone survived the weekend, the NFL yesterday. One blowout, one controversial game, kind of, sort of, I guess. I don't play the ref game. I hate to get into the drama. I was laughing real hard Saturday night when LeBron got hacked at the buzzer and there was no call, and that was all over the social media. And then turn on last night's game, and a good hard-fought game, a game that definitely should have gone to overtime, a game that was ended on a last-second field goal. Kansas City now faces the Eagles 2 weeks from now, but today is Monday. It's our weekly trip to FLA. Good friend of the show, the one and only Mr. BDB himself at Beating the Bookie. Let's bring him on right now.
Good afternoon, Jeff, and shout out to everybody watching. I gave away 3 free plays on Friday or Thursday when we did the show last, and we went 2-0-1, so congrats to those who played those. And it was a good weekend. Unfortunately, it was some thought the NFC Championship was the worst NFC Championship I've ever seen, as far as officiated and played. As a lifelong Dolphins fan, it just boggles. Dan Marino had a career of 20 years, and so hard to make the Super Bowl. But then you have a team like the Eagles who makes the Super Bowl twice in the last four years or so. And they got there by beating Case Keenum and Josh Johnson. So it's just unbelievable luck. I mean, just unbelievable. That's the path to the Super Bowl. You beat the Giants, and then you beat Josh Johnson and to get to the Super Bowl. So it's remarkable, actually. I wish my teams had anything close to that kind of luck, but the NFC Championship was boring. The AFC Championship was a good game, but I thought both teams played, very average. We saw Burrow, very average, 2 interceptions, and he seemed to just think he could just throw it up there, and let his guys come down with the ball, which they usually can. And Kansas City's defense, Kansas City won that game yesterday, not because of Mahomes, but because of their defense. Their defense stepped up, and, that's why they are going on to the Super Bowl.
Going back to the NFC game, I found it kind of comical. As you said, the Eagles breeze through the Giants, and then in comes the Niners. Everyone's expecting this great game. We were waiting for the Brock Purdy hiccup, and we hadn't seen it all year. And then he gets his arm ripped off, and in comes Josh Johnson. And so they knew right away that the 49ers couldn't throw the ball anyways. Even when Josh Johnson was healthy, then he gets hurt, and in comes, are they going to use McCaffrey? In comes, Brock Purdy back. He couldn't throw the ball, and it was a nightmare of a game. And then we go to the AFC game, and even the block in the back, if they call the block in the back, and again, I'm not here to talk refs here. If they call that game's going to overtime, there's no push in the back and 15-yard penalty and a field goal by Butker. But the funny part is that some of these books opened up Kansas City -2. And the funny part about this is if you were just watching this game, Rob, and you saw no Kadarius Toney, who we gave out plus 1,900 for the first touchdown scored, had it in his damn hands. And, of course, 2 plays later, he gets hurt. He's gone. No McCole Hardman. They lose, I think it was MVS late, and then they lose their best cornerback, Snead, and then they lose Gay. So they still open them up 2-point favorites, and everyone ran to the window, grabbed the +2, +1, the pick 'em, the -1. Now we sit Eagles -2.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I'll probably. I mean, look, the Chiefs, they're going to be healthy into the Super Bowl. Mahomes is going to be healthy. He's going to have 2 weeks more, 2 weeks additional to heal his ankle. And to me, I think personally, the Eagles' offense has looked abysmal in the postseason. Jalen Hurts has looked very poor. I mean, he missed a ton of deep throws, couple deep touchdowns yesterday. Um, he's still struggling to throw the deep ball. I don't know if he's injured, but he's always struggled to throw the deep ball, right? And he had hurt that shoulder, that's why he was out. But through his career, even at Alabama, he struggled to throw the deep ball, right? So we're kind of seeing that right now, and I think people get caught up in the blowout. You know how they blow out the Giants and Niners, and they go to the window and bet the Eagles. But like we said, it's not that easy. And the last time the public won a Super Bowl was like 30 years or so, right? So, all the big bets coming in. I think they said there was like 25 bets of $100,000 or more on the game last night. Like 22 of them were on the Eagles. So, if I'm betting the Chiefs, that's what I want to see, right? Because we all know for the Super Bowl, it's a notorious rug pull, right? So, I think people they're enamored with how Philly has played these first two games, and like I said, the Eagles have not even been tested, right? They did play like the Niners with the toughest defense in the NFL, but they had no quarterback, and I don't care how good your defense is. If you can't move the ball, your defense is going to be on the field the entire game, which they were, and they're going to break at some point, which they did. So I think they've had a very easy road to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs, on the other hand, have played two good teams to get there, and they've been tested, right? So they've been punching them out, they've been tested, and they passed. I don't think we can say the same for Philly. So it's going to be an interesting, Super Bowl, that's for sure. And like I said, I told you last week, if I could get $20,000 on that over 38, that AFC versus NFC number, that pre-Super Bowl line, the total of 37.5 at circa, I would have loved to bet that because now we see this total is in the circa opened at 51, I believe, or 50.5. So, I wish I would have been able to get down on that, but I wasn't. And, I just want to see a good game, right? It's been this playoff, we haven't seen a ton of good games. So hopefully the Super Bowl can give us a good game. And I'm just interested to see who's going to take it down.
So we have 2 weeks to talk about this, and it's nauseating. The Pro Bowl this weekend, I guess, back in Vegas, another nauseating story there. We got to wait, I assume, for the medical reports on all the wounded on Kansas City as we speak right now. And please, people, if you don't think people are listening to our show, South Point just dropped the Eagles to 1.5. So shout out to Mr. Jimmy Vaccaro, to Chris Andrews over at South Point. Thank you guys for listening. We just moved the line a half point here. It's down to 1.5 with the hint of the Chiefs play over here. I would say unless Mahomes' ankle fell off and the Kels back spasms where he was a game time decision, kind of comical. You got an Andy Reid now, who coached Philly for 14 years. Now Kansas City, there's a million stories. Kels versus Kels. My assumption is we're going to grab the points, even though we're not putting our hat on anything right now, Rob.
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Got to pronounce the E. Yeah, I mean, if the Chiefs are getting points at this point, I mean, I would take the Chiefs right now. But, fortunately, the Super Bowl is a game where we're going to have 300, 400 betting options, right? So look forward to waiting for all the props to come out. The national anthem, the water cooler color, the will a coach wear a tie, right? Like you never know which props are going to come out for the Super Bowl. The cross sport props. So I'm just looking forward to, going over all of them and, making some good bets. And it wasn't a very offensive filled day yesterday. We hit both sides, and I had the over 48 in the Chiefs game. 2020, like early fourth quarter, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy win for sure. And then Burrow throws a pick and we just don't get it. But who would have thought that in the Eagles game, Devontae Smith would have been the leading receiver for the entire game with like 36 yards receiving, right? So we didn't see a lot of offense that game. Hopefully the Super Bowl is like the total opposite. I want to see offense. I want to see scoring. I don't want to see a defensive battle. And hopefully we finally get some scoring. And all the storylines are there. Everyone knows that they're going to beat the Andy Reid Philadelphia coach story dead, like a dead horse this week. Next week, they're going to beat the Jalen Hurts was a backup and transferred because Tua took his job story all week, right? They're just going to beat all these horses dead. And I'm looking forward to just getting on with the game and finishing the season. As for the Pro Bowl, it's a flag football game. I think they're playing golf closest to the pin also at Topgolf. I mean, I have zero interest in the Pro Bowl. I haven't watched a Pro Bowl in years since they stopped tackling pretty much. It's really a glorified, Special Olympics game at this point with what they're able to do and stuff. So I have absolutely zero interest in the game. If I bet, I'll bet the over because they're playing flag football. And at the end of the day, I don't think they care. So it's going to be quite an interesting 2 weeks. And one thing about the Super Bowl is why I wish there was only 1 week in between the game, because just 2 weeks to talk about a game is just way too much. So we've got 2 weeks to talk about the game and go over plays, and we'll do that because we have to. But it seems like every year the Super Bowl gets later and later. I saw a post yesterday that said on this day in 1996, right, or 95, Steve Young threw for 6 touchdowns and the Niners won the Super Bowl over the Chargers, right? That was yesterday. So what, in 10 years from now, is the Super Bowl going to be in March? It keeps getting further and further back, which, I think is crazy, but hopefully we can just get the game on and wrap up this season and get on to 2023 for the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl.
I think that was the highest spread that I remember. I think the Chargers were like 16-point favorites the Niners 16-point favorites
and they covered.
And they covered going away. Yeah. Before we flip onto the frozen pond, Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator to the Chargers. Does that move the needle for you?
No. I mean, I'm not really a fan of Kellen Moore to begin with. I think with all that talent he had on that offense, with the receivers, the running backs, the tight ends, the quarterback, I mean, I think anybody could have pretty much done the job that he did. So, Kellen Moore him leaving doesn't really change, anything in my eyes. And Mike McCarthy calling plays like he did in Green Bay. I don't think he'll be worse than Kellen Moore was. So, it's kind of going to be the offensive coordinator for San Diego, or not San Diego, but the Chargers. It's kind of I feel like it's a meaningless position because, at the end of the day, Brandon Staley has the reins of that offense. Right. So no matter what Kellen Moore calls, I mean, Brandon Staley has the final say at the end of the day, right? Like, go for it on 4th down right here on our own 25-yard line. That's not Kellen Moore that's going to be calling that, right? That's Brandon Staley. So I think Kellen Moore was probably just ready for a change of scenery, to be quite honest. And, he probably a little tired of, the Jerry Jones and his son, managing the Cowboys. And maybe he just knows he doesn't have any chance going forward to win the Super Bowl with Dak, right? Like, Dak is not a winner. I thought that was I wasn't really shocked, to be honest. I saw people were shocked and stuff, but listen, they haven't gone anywhere for years. So, what's the point of keeping them? They scored 9 points against the Niners, 2 weeks ago. So I wasn't really shocked. And, the way they finished the season with like 6 points against the Commanders, it just really didn't surprise me with, they almost lost to the Texans, a couple of those games. So it didn't really surprise me. And I don't think it'll be a drop off at all for the Cowboys.
Saturday night, something happened that hadn't happened all year, and that was the Boston Bruins losing 2 in a row. And then after yesterday, they have now lost 3 in a row. Bruins were coming in off a loss at Tampa. And if I remember correctly, you guys had a tough loss Thursday or Friday night as well. Bruins
Friday. Yep.
Friday. Yep. So Bruins come in hoping not to lose 2 in a row, and minus 160, which was a shocker in my eyes. I think you could have grabbed the Panthers around plus 140. And as we were talking behind stage, Bruins take a 3-2 lead. Everyone's leaving the building, and your Panthers tie it up with 2 seconds left. And then a minute later in OT, win the game. And as you were saying, you were there, so take us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really, expect this game to. I thought we'd play tough. We have Alex Lyon in goal, he's a 30-year-old rookie. I mean, essentially, he's played like 6 games in an NHL career before he came to the Panthers. He never really got a chance. He's playing all right. I think he's 3-2 now as a starter. The Panthers, on January 1st, they were 16-18 on the season. Now they're 24-22. So they went 8-4 in the month of January, which is, better from where they had started, once Murray started changing his lines up and stuff. So I feel like the Panthers are improving as we go on. And I think this win against Boston, how they won it, I think that's a big momentum builder, especially on back-to-back nights, right? We played the night before against the Kings, lost a tough one. So, I was very happy with that win. And the Panthers played tough the entire time. I will say under Maurice, there's one thing that I can say is positive. Their defense is a lot better, right? They kind of, in that third period, they kind of locked the Bruins down. Even the Bruins' second goal that they got was a giveaway on our own end. We just passed it straight to the Bruins, and they scored it. I mean, it was a horrible turnover on our own end of the ice. And the goalie Lyon played very well, and the Bruins didn't commit a penalty in the second or third period, so they were seemingly on the power play the entire time. Right? They had a double minor. The Panthers, burned off a double minor. So it seemed like we were on the the one-man disadvantage the entire time. And then, like I said, to hit the tying goal with Barkov with 1.4 seconds left. And then for like Montour, I think it was like 108 mile per hour slap one timer in 17 seconds into OT. It was a nice one. It was nice to see. These on ice officials are so bad, right? The puck goes in overtime, clear as day, right over the goalie's shoulder, hits the back pipe, comes back out. The referees are saying no goal, but the Boston goalie, he knew it was a goal. He just skated. The refs were waving it off. The goalie just skated straight off the ice into the locker room because he knew the game was over. So it was nice to see somebody who's honest, but it was a big win for the Panthers, and I think that can give them a lot of momentum headed into the All-Star break. I know like 6 of the guys on the team are going to the Bahamas this morning, so they're going up to Baha Mar for a couple of days of R&R. And right down at the beach right here, they're setting up they're having some All-Star games on the beach for the players. So kind of like they did in Vegas at the Fountains, they're going to have some of the skills competition down here at the beach. So it's going to be exciting. And I'm just looking forward to getting the second half of the season going here after this week.
Rob, did you take a look at the All-Star break that's coming up? The futures market, Do you at the All-Star break take a look and say, okay, I'm expecting a couple of these teams maybe to play a lot better than they did, or take a look at like the Bruins, the Devils, a couple of these teams that might have been overachieving, and dive in now, maybe grabbing a couple futures now before the playoffs start, or do you just sit back and wait till the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. We have, teams like the Bruins that play so good, like so early for so long. That regression is due, right? At some point, just like the Devils, regression is coming. And now we've seen, I think the Bruins hadn't lost 2 games in a row the entire season, correct?
Correct.
And now they've lost 3 in a row.
Yep.
So they were worn out on that road trip, especially against Carolina yesterday. Was that 3 games and 4 nights? So,
and then they go to Toronto, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday.
But for me, I don't care what Toronto's record is. It's the same old Toronto. I've watched them play a few times this year, and I just don't think they're tough, right? I think when the going gets tough, I think Toronto, they buckle. So, one team I might be looking to buy right now is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they've won like 11 straight home games. They're playing very well. And, coming, after the Stanley Cup last year against the Avalanche, I was kind of like Vasilevsky, Kucherov. I mean, this team, Maroon, Stamkos, they're kind of old now. They've been to 3 straight Stanley Cups. This is the end, right? They lost 4-2 to the Avalanche. I'm thinking they're older now. This is the end. And, they started out the season kind of slow, but now they've really picked it up, or now they've got 10 or 11 straight home wins. And they look like the best team on the NHL in some nights. So I'll probably look to take a bite of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're 12-1 on DraftKings. See if I can pick it up somewhere else, because, when you look at the guys ahead of them, the Maple Leafs, total waste of money if you're betting on their futures. Carolina, not sold on Carolina as a third favorite in the NHL. The Avalanche, when they're fully healthy, they're going to give anybody trouble, right? And then the Bruins, of course, who are the favorites. But, if it's a plus 1,200 Lightning or a plus 450 Bruins, I'm going to go with the Bruins. With the Lightning, just because you can't, the playoffs is all about experience, right? You get in those close games, and you need a goalie who's going to, do something phenomenal, and Vasilevsky, he's going to give it to you, right? So one future that I would look at playing right now is the Lightning at plus 1,200 to win the cup.
I like that. I like that a lot here. It's a short college basketball night, and highlighting Baylor and Texas. You do have Iowa State and Texas Tech as well. 2 good games there, Virginia and Syracuse. Again, hockey getting ready for the break. We got 2 weeks off with the NFL. So, college hoops will be taking the forefront here in the front stage. Anything jumping out at your eyes right now in the college hoops for tonight?
Not yet. I've been giving away some free plays on my site. I think we're 17-4 now, our last 20. For the 21 plays we put on there. Yesterday was almost an all-timer. I gave out Quinnipiac plus 8 against Iona, and Quinnipiac was up 18 points at halftime. And I texted my partner. I said, Iona is going to outscore them by 32 in the second half, right? Like, that's just our luck. And Iona was winning by 10 in the second half at some point. And I'm just like, what happened here? This is a 28-point turnaround. And luckily we covered, with a 2-pointer at the buzzer. But college basketball, you talk about, people say sports are fixed all the time. That's one sport where it's like the spread is 8 and Quinnipiac's down 7. Iona rebounds the ball with 4 seconds left, and they get fouled. Like, why are you spreading fouling in a 7-point game with 4 seconds left and a spread of 8, right? That's just a little fishy to me, if you ask me. But as far as tonight, there's really, not much going on. Like you said, the Texas Baylor game, we've got Virginia, Syracuse. So tonight, Baylor is a tough team to bet because you never know which Baylor team is going to show up. I might take Iowa State tonight, -1 at Texas Tech because I think that Texas Tech mystique is living off the Chris Beard years, right? This spread is almost because Chris Beard was their coach, 2 years ago, right? So I think Texas Tech, they're a total. I mean, I'm just not a fan of them at all this year. I think they're very weak. And Iowa State, I think, is a much tougher team. So tonight, I'll probably take a bite of Iowa State -1, and maybe a bite of South Dakota State +2. But I'm not really sure right now. Those are just like initial leans just from taking a look. But that Baylor Texas game, I mean, that's a total toss up. Both those teams, you never really know which version of the team you're going to get that night. So I'm looking forward to watching that one, but I don't think I will be betting it.
Lastly, Max Homa comes from downtown. We were doing a live show on Saturday, and even with Ryder with a 4-shot lead with Rahm chasing him, was only -125. And then Rahm double bogeys, and then he still was only like -140. So Vegas was waiting for him to collapse. In comes Homa. Big win for Homa, number one. Number two, they were talking about the U.S. Open this year being at one of his college and his home tracks there. Any interest in Mr. Homer if we can grab a future in the U.S. Open?
Yeah, listen, I think he's got the course record there of a 61 at the LA Country Club from his college days. So, I really like Max Homa. I mean, he's very consistent. And he's a nice guy, right? So, I enjoy watching Max Homa win. I had a very good tournament this weekend. We made like 17 units. We hit our max play on Jason Day, top Australian. I hit for like 5 units. I bet 2 units on Jason Day +210 top 10. He cashed top 10 and top 20. So Jason Day cashed me like 12 units in the tournament. So it was a very nice tournament there. Looking forward to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am this week with Tom Hoge defending his title. And I think Tom Hoge I think he has a good chance to repeat actually with this field. Matt Fitzpatrick is the favorite. Jordan Spieth is the second favorite. And you've got Victor Hovland, Tom Hoge. So looking forward to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am this week. And yeah, I think, Max Homa to win, the U.S. Open. I mean, that's a good bet. Just, I think now you probably don't want to bet it right now. You probably want to wait until he plays. Maybe, right now it's probably the least value you're going to get coming off of a win. A lot of people would be betting it. You probably want to wait till maybe he starts a couple weeks from now and plays poorly, right? And his odds go back down a little bit. So if you're going to play Max Homa to win that, I would just wait, a few weeks or a month and just see. Hopefully he plays poorly and you can pick up some extra value on him.
The scroll has been going the whole time, B2B. They know, obviously, on Twitter, you got a great following to follow you at Beating the Bookie. Tell them where to find you on your website, your free picks, your packages, as we get closer and closer to football ending in the Super Bowl and other sports taking the bigger stage.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for baseball at this point, right? Football, it just has drug on and on and on. And for me, I think this has been one of the most boring NFL seasons to date. I just think we've seen a lot of mediocre teams. Like, there hasn't been really one powerhouse this season where we're like, hey, it's the 18-0 Patriots, right? Like, we don't have that like this year, right? We just don't see any powerhouses. So I'm looking forward to the NFL season finishing up. Looking forward to baseball. Like I said, on my site, we've got all of our packages, basketball, hockey, golf, football, soccer. You can pick any of those up. And you can also check out the free play page for a free play. Usually I put one up there daily. Or just listen to this show and, usually I give out a free play. So You can find me at Beating the Bookie on Twitter or on my site. So I enjoyed coming on and another successful Monday show.
Always love our Mondays. I look forward to them, and I enjoy our conversations, and it's only going to get big, big, and bigger. So everyone watching and following, if you're not following me, you can follow me at EC Sports Invest. I'll follow you right back. Obviously, everyone here is following you at Beating the Bookie. Let's have a great, great day, a better week, and we will be catching up throughout the week.
Sounds good.